Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. Hi, I'm Mac, and I make videos talking about e-commerce, passive income, and different ways to make money online, and all things Etsy. So if that interests you, I would love to have you a part of our channel here on YouTube. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about print-on-demand success on Etsy and a few things that I think are really valuable for you to know to have a successful print-on-demand business. And we're going to be focusing in more on Etsy today, but I am going to be making this a bit of a series. So I'm going to be talking about Shopify and TikTok Shop a lot more on this channel. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you are subscribed and put on your notifications if you want to be notified every week that I post. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of the tools that I use as well that have helped me significantly over the years. I honestly wish that I would have watched more videos on Etsy success if they were available to me, rather than like how to create products, because I think that, okay, you can create really wonderful products, but if you don't know how to use the platform that you're selling on, it's just not going to be as effective if you do want it to be a long-term business. And I also think that a lot of the times Etsy can be something that someone will look at and think it's a side hustle, because it is a great side hustle, but it became something that was a full-time business for me. And a lot of you might be in that position where you're wanting that to happen, or maybe you just want to get your first sale. Regardless of that, this can be a full-time business. And if you want to take it seriously as that, you need to treat it as that. And so I feel this would be helpful for those who really want to get there. So first, I want to talk about brand vision and what that exactly can mean and why it's important on Etsy, but also any platform that you sell on. So I don't want to be so specific in saying that you need a niche store. I know that that has been something that a lot of people have mixed opinions on. So if your store on Etsy is either niche specific or it's just you're selling whatever, that's okay. This can apply to both of those things, but having a brand vision is very important, and also for the longevity of your business. Now, the idea of having a brand vision really can just boil down to, do you know who you're selling to and who your target audience is? And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about niche, but if you do have a general store, overall, the idea is that in your listings, that specific listing needs to be curated to the person that is going to be purchasing. So utilizing different colors and aesthetics in our mockups and things like that that are really geared towards that targeted buyer versus just having a very generic listing that can appeal to everyone isn't as effective. Now, where this can lead with your branding is obviously on Etsy, we don't have full control of our brand, right? We really have a portion of selling on a marketplace rather than having our own website where we can control everything. But Etsy does allow you to have different categories on the side of your Etsy shop to really keep things organized for people that come to your store. And they also allow you to have a shop logo, a shop banner, and an About Me section. So those things should all be filled out. You don't need to give tons of detail, especially if you're a newer brand, but you need to have enough on your store so that if someone clicks to come to your store, they want to buy from you. So that means you really need to have a logo and you really need to have a shop banner, and those things should be seamless and go along with what you're trying to portray. So if you have a niche specific store, this is much easier for you, because if you're selling to, I always talk about the mental health niche, you want to use colors and vibes and things that are fun with that in your header and your logo. So if you're selling gifts to whoever, maybe you sell personalized gifts, you should have different types of colors and aesthetics, but that show what your products are. Things like that that can really show a potential customer that, number one, you are a legit business, you're a shop that is selling and you're not trying to scam people, because at the end of the day, people are nervous to purchase from somewhere they've never ordered before. And while we do have an advantage by selling on Etsy, because people trust Etsy rather than going to a random website that they click on, we still want to make sure that they know they can trust our shop and that we're going to deliver the product that we showed them to them. And I really think this is overlooked a lot, especially with people who kind of put Etsy as like a side hustle rather than an actual business, and it shows. And so like, even if you do want to do this on the side as a side hustle, like treat it as a legitimate business, because it is. If you are receiving money from someone and you're giving them a product, like it's a transaction, right? Like it's legit. And so you need to treat it as that. And I think that having a brand vision really can showcase that. Going along with, okay, let's say you have that and you have your established logo and your banner on your store, bring that into your listings. Where can you put personal touches on your listings, whether that's creating a listing video that can really show your product or what it does or who uses it, that in action, or if you want to even just have a thanks for checking out our shop, here's a discount code you can use, like whatever that is that can really make it feel more personable to the person that you're selling to in every single listing. And I have a few videos about mockups. I am going to be making an updated one that shares all of my mockup strategies, so be sure to look out for that. But I do use Placeit.net a lot on my channel and in all of my businesses. It's become a huge thing that I use because it's so great with different types of mockup photos. So if you want to check that out, it will be linked in the description. But this is a great way to get pictures and videos of your products without having to order samples for every single one. It has been such a resource that I've used over the years with Print on Demand. It was the very first mockup site that I actually used, and I still use it to this day. So it's below for you, but just in general, like wherever you're getting your mockups from, they should be curated towards whoever you're selling to. So recently, Etsy has been more open and aware with different things that they've been posting on their channels. The Etsy Success channel just posted a video, and it was with the CEO talking about, updated Etsy policies and understanding who's allowed on Etsy. And there's been a lot of controversy about that, just in general, like with Etsy sellers that have been on for years. And so they did make updates regarding different things such as mockups, such as different policies for their stores. And so I will leave that linked for you to check out, because that is another huge thing, is like making sure that if we want to have our Etsy shop be a long-term brand, that we're following their policies, because sometimes we can slip up and not realize that we're violating something. So that's really important. And so I'll link all those resources for you as well. Going along with that though, Etsy actually launched a few different ads that were talking about how they are the place for gifts. So really utilizing that in your SEO, utilizing that in your descriptions, and selling products on your store that are geared towards gifts. And a great way to do this is offering personalization. Now, I've talked about this in a few videos before, but if you're new and you're not doing personalization on your Etsy store, you need to. It is something that is becoming huge. We literally have a tool now where we can automate personalization with AI on our Etsy Print on Demand store. So it's not like it used to be where you have to go back and edit it every single time. But what I really want to get across is, like, if Etsy is promoting their platform as a gift giving site where you should go, the place for gifts, you need to really utilize that and kind of follow with Etsy's trends, because following in a marketplace's trends and understanding what they're trying to promote is going to help you. There has been things that share that personalized listings get a boost in the Etsy algorithm. I'm not 100% that's true, but there is a gift category. So if you're showing that your product is a gift or that it has, personalization available, that can help you get shown to more customers, especially on that first page for that gift finder. So definitely something to take into consideration. You don't have to offer personalization on every single listing, but offering it in your store can be really valuable, and has been, in my experience, for my Print on Demand stores. Because at first I was like, I'm not offering personalization. Like, it takes so much time. I'm not doing it. And that was like what was in my head for a very long time. But once I brought in that, especially coming up with Q4, you really should, because a lot of people during the holiday season jump to Etsy. We are online, we're buying for people, and we want personalized things. Definitely something to consider, especially with Q4. Etsy is really favoring that, or at least that's what it seems. There's no factual thing on that, but just from experience and who I've talked to, I really think that it's helping. And while we're on the topic of Q4, it is coming up. And if you are a newer seller that has never maybe experienced Q4 before, I want to tell you that you need to be ready. You need to be ready for Q4. Preparing your Etsy shop for this is huge. And in general, like, I think as I was talking about in the beginning of the video, with having an Etsy shop and really taking it seriously, when you start getting an influx of orders quickly for the first time, it can be very overwhelming. And so being prepared for that in the most way that you can be possible, because at the end of the day, like, when something happens that we've never experienced before, we're never actually like 100% prepared, but being prepared for, like, okay, I have everything set up, so if and when I get all these orders, I'm not going to be as frazzled, and I'm not going to be like, oh my God, what is going on? So what I mean by that is making sure that you're aware of how your profit versus revenue works in your store and having everything organized. This is essentially like bookkeeping of your Etsy shop, which may seem like something that's way out of reach if you haven't even made, 100 sales yet, but it's something that's really important. And honestly, if I can go back on my Etsy journey, before I actually had an influx of sales, I did not understand profit versus revenue like as well as I do now. Like I literally would think that when I would see that revenue number on my Etsy shop, that was what I was making, because I just wasn't taking into account the fees and, having credit card payments every single time. Like I wasn't paying enough attention to that. I was just happy to be getting orders. And that's, I think, what happens to a lot of people, because a lot of people that I've helped personally will kind of do the same thing. And I'm like, whoa, like let's take a step back. Print on demand is on the more expensive side because we're not having that upfront inventory. And so we need to make sure that we're doing our bookkeeping right and that we're keeping track of what we're actually making. And so much actually goes into this. Like, honestly, like with print on demand, right? They've done a really great job. Our print on demand suppliers, the biggest ones, and the one I use, Printify, they've done a really good job of when you're listing, you can now see all of the fees. That never used to be like that. So that is huge. Like being able to see like the Etsy fee and what your estimated profit is. But at the end of the day, like you can only rely so much on that. You need to actually be keeping track of your own expenses and how like products prices can fluctuate, shipping products can fluctuate. So like it's just important to keep an eye on. And luckily, we now have so many resources available to us to help us with that, rather than having to hire someone and having to hire someone once your business gets bigger. And so I recommend something called Profit Tree. It is a way to automate all of your different types of income that are coming in your Etsy store and keep track of actually how much profit you're making. And not only is it doing that, but it actually shows you what you're missing on your store if you have duplicated listings. And this is extremely helpful to all levels of Etsy sellers. But if you get started when you're newer, it's going to help you to actually keep track of this long term rather than trying to sync everything from the past. But it does have a integration with Printful and Printify, and it has been a huge help to me personally and a lot of the other Etsy sellers that I speak with, especially if you're someone that's keeping track of everything in Excel, or if you're not keeping track at all. This can really be a helpful tool for you because it will track your profits as they're coming in, as it's going on, right? It's going to be all updated. And it's also going to tell you when you have low stock. And like I said, integrates very easily with those print on demand suppliers. So I just highly recommend having something like this. And Profit Tree is a really, really great option and something that I do recommend. I know a lot of times with money stuff and with taxes and, business registration, like it gets confusing, especially not knowing how you should be doing all of these things. And so I really think that when you're in the position of having tools available to you, utilize them. Like utilize them. I know everyone tries to keep their cost as low as possible, and I totally get that. But I think with things like this, like money tracking, profit tracking, like it is important and something that I years ago wish I would have jumped on. So I was really excited to see Profit Tree. I will have that link below for you. Definitely recommend it if you're someone that is keeping track of your money and your profits through maybe something like Excel. This will be way more helpful to you and way more automated. Now, overall in this video, I really want to get the idea across of like how much effort you put into your Etsy shop will show in your success. And I think that that's a huge thing. I think that a lot of people don't put effort in their Etsy shops and then they wonder, why am I not getting sales? And maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you have put a lot of work in your Etsy shop, but then you haven't gotten sales. But that's usually not the case. That's usually not what I see. I usually see people that are putting a little bit of effort and not all the effort, and then they're expecting sales right away. And that's just not how Etsy works. It's something with a lot of, competition at the end of the day. And I also have seen a lot of things on Etsy where if you're not active in your shop, I really think that they're not pushing your shop as much. I think those who are active in their shop kind of think of it as like an algorithm. I really think Etsy keeps track of that because they're trying to keep off like bots and fake accounts and stuff. And so I really think that it's something that you need to be updating a lot. And it's something that from my own experience as well, what you're putting in is what you will get out of it. Like the times that I've taken little breaks from Etsy or opened new shops that I'm not as active in rather than my bigger shop, like I notice the difference. I notice a difference in sales. I notice a difference in views. Like I really feel that it's as serious as you're going to take it. And even if it is a side hustle that, during Christmas time, you open your Etsy shop and you want it to be more active, like you can't expect it all year round to be working for you as a full-time business. If you want it to be that, you really have to treat it as one. And that's what goes into everything that I've talked about in this video today. Like if you're keeping track of your profit versus revenue, if you're offering things that Etsy is really pushing, if you are in your shop and you're showing, your customer service and you're keeping track of all of that, it really is going to help you with your success long term on Etsy and just to have a really great business overall. So I hope that something was helpful in this video today. If you liked it, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, comment any questions or suggestions that you have, or any further content that you want to see. I know that everyone is excited for Q4 coming up in a few months here, so it's great to be prepared for all those holidays and big time sellers. Everything I talked about today, including Profit Tree, will be linked below for you in the description. And I want to say thank you so much for watching my videos. It means so much for me to have a community on YouTube and other social medias that I have a space to talk about something that I do and I share with you, and that we can all make money together. And I just think it's really cool. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.